This conference will now be recorded.
I would like to call the caucus meeting of May 5th, 2020 to order. Present are council members Williamson, Lippert, Glassburn, Heeman, Schuman, Broussard, and Kelly. Also present are our law director, our safety service director, our planning and development director, our finance director, and our guests this evening. Before we begin tonight's agenda, were there any additions or corrections to the caucus meeting minutes of March 18th, 2020? Seeing none, they will stand as written. On tonight's agenda, we have one piece of legislation that will be considered for suspension of the rules. That legislation is Ordinance 2020-54, repealing North Olmsted Ordinance 2020-51, entitled An Ordinance Establishing Temporary Emergency Authority of the Mayor and Declaring an Emergency. As council will remember, we put that legislation into place at the start of the pandemic. At the time, we were unsure of the possibilities of what that would bring forward. We're not sure if we would have the opportunity to meet as a council and make quick decisions as we would need to. But seeing as how we now have a forum through our GoToMeeting platform where we can meet as a council, make decisions, and also be able to have the public involved in the process of government, we are able to move forward now and move quickly to make those decisions. So this legislation is no longer necessary. Were there any questions or comments from any of our council members regarding Ordinance 2020-54? Thank you. Looking at the other pieces of legislation on first reading, Ordinance 2020-53 will go into Finance, and Ordinance 2020-55 will go into Environmental Control. Okay. So we are looking at scheduling our committee meetings for next Tuesday, if that's when council members would like to do that, which would be May 12th. And Councilwoman Williams, I have a note here that you also need to have a BZD committee meeting as well.
That's correct, Director, Madam President. For extra space, 7 p.m. on March 12th, or I'm sorry, May 12th.
7 p.m. And how long will you need, Councilwoman?
Director Lieber, how long do we need for that meeting?
I suggest just 10 minutes.
Okay, so let's say 7 to 7:10.
Thank you. And next, Councilwoman Heeman, if we could have environmental control.
Yes, thank you. 7:10, and in my short conversation with Director Glauner, I think 10 minutes should be sufficient. Do you think, Director?
That should be enough, yes.
Thank you. It's to 7:20. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you, Councilwoman Heeman. And Councilman Schuman, Finance Committee.
So we'll go ahead and have a Finance Committee meeting to discuss 2020-53 from 7:20 until whatever time we decide that the world's not coming to an end.
Thank you, Councilman Schuman. All right. Council members, yes.
I'd like to bring the Recreation, Public Parks and Buildings back up at the end of his whenever.
Madam President?
Councilman Schuman.
Perhaps we could have that meeting at 7:20 and then follow it with Finance, because we have no idea how deep we're going to get into this.
That would be fine if Councilman Kelly, if that sounds good to you, at 7:20, we can have recreation.
That's fine.
Thank you. And about how long would you like, Councilman Kelly, for the recreation meeting?
We're going to make this one a little quicker. How about 15 minutes?
Okay. So about 7:35?
Please.
Thank you. And then Councilman Schuman for finance.
Then we'll start at 7:35. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And just a reminder for council members, if there is anyone in particular that you would like to have at your committee meeting from the administration, to make sure that you note that when you schedule your committee meeting, so we can make sure that they are available as well. Council members, is there anything else that you would like to bring up at this time? Thank you. Mayor, do you have anything for council at this time?
No, Madam President.
Okay, thank you. We will conclude our caucus meeting at 8 p.m.
Can you remind people to turn off their microphone?
This conference will now be